What's up, everyone? It is Diecastbuffet here again. What a instant classic we saw with the Bristol night race in 2025. For the first time, it feels like maybe in a decade plus, the Bristol night race felt like the Bristol night race. Oh my goodness, what a fantastic event. We'll be talking all about it. What a great race. Make sure to give the video a huge thumbs up, and let's talk Bristol. Oh my goodness. So Christopher Bell won the Bristol night race. We have a little bit of a DeWalt yellow in the background there. And it was a absolute classic. Tire wear out the wazoo. It was everything most NASCAR fans were hoping for. That all week, all I've been hearing about is is the Goodyear tire going to wear, right? There were, kind of rumors or something mulling around the garage area about the tires were so soft that it actually broke a testing machine. I don't know if it was at NASCAR or Goodyear or whatever, but the tire wore out so fast it actually damaged the machine. It was kind of like a running joke, like did it actually happen or not? I don't know. Maybe it actually did. This is crazy how amazing this race was. It was 2024's spring race all over again here in 2025 at the night race. I think the solution is here. They have the tire, right? The only thing they need is colder temperatures. I'm just saying, if this means we need to run Bristol 4 weeks earlier in the spring and maybe a couple weeks later in the fall, and we get this quality of racing, I'm not against it. I'm just keeping it real, man. This was the best Bristol night race I have watched in a long time. I'm talking probably Gen 5. I'm going to keep it a stack. It might be all the way back to Gen 5. The Bristol night race for the NASCAR Next Gen era, it's been pretty disappointing for most part, in my honest opinion. I've heard so many different people that were like, diehard Bristol fans. They go every year renewing their tickets. And after 2023 and 2024, they said, I'm done. Right? They're like, I'm not going back. That was embarrassing how bad it was. And you look at the 2025 event, instant classic. I mean, there was so much action. It would take me probably an hour to talk about it. Probably the best race of the year. I'm not even going to kid. It was insane. So every about 45 laps, the tires wore out just like they did in spring 2024, which was a cold date, apparently. It was colder than normal for that region of the country. And it was apparently kind of decently chilly for this, time of year. It's September. I mean, it's kind of funny, in some places of the country it's still 100 degrees. In some places it might be 65 degrees. So it's kind of interesting. I digress. And the colder temperatures really kind of screwed up the tire strategy in a good way. And you could tell the drivers were having fun with it, man. They were out there slipping and sliding. They were having to conserve tire wear. And to sum up the entire event, it was chaos. It was old school NASCAR racing. It was everything that NASCAR fans have been begging for and complaining about the last 15, 16 years. And justified so complaining, by the way, about they should have never reconfigured Bristol, right? I think most people would probably agree with that, to be honest with you. Maybe at least 51%. And then, hey, we want tire wear. Why? Strategy. Comers and goers, more passing, more cautions, X, Y, and Z. You got both of them. The unintended consequences about having tires that wear this heavily is it completely caked up the outside lane where you had nothing but chunks of rubber, like literally chunks of rubber that you could see from like 10 car lengths away. It's crazy how large the pieces of rubber were built up on the outside lane. So essentially, when you go up there, it's like going through kitty litter. It just gunks up the tires. You're screwed up. So it basically said, hey, we're gonna artificially reconfigure Bristol for tonight's race. So everyone's running the bottom. They're beating and banging. They're knocking people out of the way. Drivers are getting PO'd. They're getting impatient. You had drivers just knocking people out. It was so much fun. I truly felt like I was watching a Winston Cup Bristol race for a bit. I'm not even going to hold you. I know the horsepower and the atmosphere is not exactly the same, but it felt like old Bristol. Man, bottle up whatever they did tonight and bring it to every short track. I'm telling you, this type of tire that wears out like crazy, I don't know what they can do. I don't care if they need to run a 3,000 lap test in the off season. Find a way to take this tire and to replicate what happened here tonight at Bristol and 2024 spring at Bristol and make it work at Richmond, Martinsville, Gateway, New Hampshire, any track that needs some tire wear, right? Where it just falls off heavily. Why? Because the fans are going to love it. The drivers are going to love it. It was fantastic, man. And I understand the temperature is probably the main ingredient, so to speak, of why this happened. So the challenge would be, hey, how do we make a tire replicate what it did right now, but in warmer temperatures? They can do it, trust me. I mean, 25 years ago, they might have 100 different tests throughout the year between the teams, the manufacturers, the OEM updates, and then Goodyear testing, and then, hey, they might do a test for a certain part on the car or a small rule update. They would have testing almost every week. Some team in the garage area was out at a random short track doing a test. So they can do so. There's got to be a way they could take this tire and find a way to make it work exactly verbatim how it did. I don't think it wore too much. I think it was perfect. It was perfect. This is what you want. You put it in the driver's hands. You make them go out there and be like, you know what? Do I push my car now or do I Mark Martin it a little bit, ride around, and then push it later into the tire run? The crew chiefs, instead of them just sitting there, it's like, okay, we need a pit here because stage 1 is here and stage 2 is here, and then they do nothing. They're sitting there having to constantly recalculate their strategy because of the tire allotment. So much tires were used, they had to give the teams an extra set. It was a classic. I'm just 10 out of 10. Just amazing. I am so glad it delivered. I had literally the pretty much the lowest expectations you could have for a Bristol night race in the next gen era. I'm so glad I was thoroughly shocked that it wasn't a snooze fest. The last 2 Bristol night races were I can't even describe how bad they were compared to this one. Wow, what a classic. Fantastic stuff. And we didn't even talk about the playoff stuff yet. Oh yeah, it was a cutoff race. 4 drivers got eliminated. Alex Bowman having the drive of his career, going out there doing everything he possibly could. And I don't know if he had tires or not, but they had a late race restart with like 3 or 4 laps to go. Some drivers had tires, some didn't. Carson Hocevar, Zane Smith had a great shot to win this race. And Brad Keselowski, he even tried a little bit of a bump and run. He didn't do that great of a job at it, but he tried. I appreciate that. But man, a tip of the cap to Alex Bowman. Fantastic run. And you look at the bubble for it. Cindric, Elliott, Bowman, they were like the main topic of conversation. Elliott had a pretty gnarly wreck. I feel like he probably shouldn't have came down there. I don't care if whose real estate it was. He came down and kind of got himself in a wreck. You could say Nemechek should have lifted. You have to, see for yourself. But to me, you got too much on the line to be racing that hard for a position that, you really don't need. Just keep it real. That's my 2 cents on that. So Elliott made tonight a lot more difficult, I feel like, than it needed to be. He almost got eliminated. If it wasn't for Austin Cindric having a fire, something to do with the rocker box on the car, because there's so much rubber built up, it actually catches fire inside the car. Hello, Next Gen 2022, where we saw this almost every other week. They eventually fixed it, but they didn't expect this. If it wasn't for that, it was going to be Bowman or Elliott basically battling in the last few laps, even though Elliott was already out of the race in the garage. So that was fascinating. The true eliminations were, unfortunately, Josh Berry, who had a massive fire in his car. He was the first one of the rubber fire. I mean, his whole inside of the car was just engulfed in smoke. I felt for him, man. They were trying to rip him out of the car. They got him out. He was all good. But it's just crazy how fast the car, basically, the interior just fills up with smoke. So it can be very scary for a driver. I would be trying to get out of there as fast as I could. Anyways, So Josh Berry had probably the worst start to a playoffs you could ever have with like what 3 DNFs in 3 races. I feel for the Berry fans as a Berry fan myself. So hopefully he returns next year and everything's all good in that regard. He's eliminated, unfortunately. SVG, he's eliminated as well. It's really unfortunate in my honest opinion because I feel like SVG, all he had to do is just go out there and just top 20, top 25. There was enough shenanigans at Bristol tonight. He would have easily advanced if he would have just top 20'd it. I'm just saying, you get yourself in wrecks. You get off sequence with pitch strategy, some questionable calls, some mistakes. You're eliminated that quick. Just keeping it real. I wish he would have advanced, but that's just the way it goes. Austin Dillon, he's out. And then Alex Bowman, unfortunately, eliminated, which I know there's going to be a lot of conversation about Alex Bowman in terms of, okay, should he be driving the 48 car? I think he should. I think he deserves it. That cat went out there. The pit crew has been bad. Okay, they were bad at Darlington, bad at Gateway. They said, screw it, we're going to take the pit crew from the 77 car. They did fantastic, right? Bowman drove his guts out tonight. Beautiful race car, by the way. W. Hendrick having a silver paint scheme, so that was a lot of fun. Anyways, what else do we want to talk about? Oh, yeah. So the next race is going to be New Hampshire. It's going to be on Sunday again. Yeah, 8 NFL games. Going on at the same time, just about. You want to know the ratings for Gateway? I believe the ratings for Gateway were like 1.7 or 1.8 million. That is extremely low for Cup racing. To add context to this, the Truck Series is about 250,000, give or take, each week. The Xfinity Series is like right at 1 million or 1.1 million. Sometimes a little higher. Sometimes just a fraction lower. The Cup Series was only like 1.7 million. I said this well last year during the playoff sequence that I honestly feel like NASCAR should really consider changing up the schedule in terms of the end of the year to not compete against the NFL. Get this, the NFL had the greatest week 1 ratings ever, right? So they already broke their records in terms of television ratings. College football, breaking records in terms of television ratings. I'm just saying, it's going to be really hard to gain fans. It doesn't matter how good the racing is if people are not watching it, right? It doesn't matter how good of a Bristol night race we had. If people are watching college football, they're not going to see how great of a race we had tonight. I think somehow, some way, they need to find a way to condense the schedule. Not remove events, but find a way to shorten the, hey, February to maybe the 1st of October in terms of the whole schedule length, because every year the NFL keeps growing. And the ratings for these Sunday Cup races, I worry about them, man. I'm just saying. I said this over a year ago. It's hard to compete against the NFL in terms of ratings when they're getting, get this, over 15 million average viewers per game. And you have 8 of them going on at once. And the Cup race, which is only one event, has 1.7 million views. I'm just saying, that is not even close. It's hard to compete. I think it's time to kind of reevaluate in my honest opinion. It's not 2005 anymore, right? It's 2025. The schedule needs to reflect what is going on now. It's hard to gain fans if you physically can't, if you go to a sports bar, you're going to see 100 different TVs that are going to show, NFL or college football. I highly doubt many people are going to be showing the New Hampshire Cup race. I don't want to be that guy. It is what it is. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to pre-order that Race to Win diecast. Christopher Bell, that's what? The 3rd or 4th win for D-Wall at the Bristol night race. That is freaking awesome. Make sure to pre-order that. And that's what, his 3rd win with D-Walt this year? Is that true? Is that his 3rd win with D-Walt? That is dope. I love that. Matt Kenza fans going to love that. Thank you all for watching the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you use that promo code if you like. We have a diecast haul. Maybe next week. Maybe. I don't know. Well, I may or may not have the box over here. I would grab it, but I'm trying to hold a microphone right now. So stay tuned. It's going to be one of the best diecast hauls of the year. Trust that. That's all for now. Have a blessed one, everybody. Diecast Buffet signing off.